Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Roosevelt Park, Greenhills West, San Juan, Metro Manila, Philippines, 1999 to 2010. Gosh, what a topic. What a title. That 11-year time period at Roosevelt Park was the greatest experience of my life. Yeah, best times of my life. I was a part of a group of mostly children, and we had an amazing community, and it was like heaven, closest thing to heaven I've experienced. And yeah, there were some hard times, but mostly overwhelmingly, it was a very, very positive experience. I moved to the Philippines in 1991 and had hard times because of the lifestyle, large part of the lifestyle in Manila, very congested, not many open spaces, and this indoor living. Was really fed up, and I was lonely. I had trouble making friends because I was shy, and Filipinos are shy. So anyway, this thing started actually when Tim was little. We lived over in our son Tim. We lived over in New Manila, Quezon City, and I started actually when he was very young, taking him to Rolling Hills Park. Yeah, so because I wanted to do that to get outside, and then actually we started going to Roosevelt Park a little bit in 1986. A few times on, I think, Saturdays, and I remember playing some American football with some little kids that were older than Tim. Tim didn't really know anything. He played and he just run around. He didn't know how to follow an American football play. Anyway, summer of 1999 came, and now my wife Alice and I were working together at Restless Educational Center, small private high school, which we did for 20 years. It's still there. My wife's keeping it going. Yeah, so she's doing a good job, a wonderful job. And so anyway, I had a summer vacation. It was summertime, and I didn't like to teach in summer. I wanted to have a break. So in that summer of 1999, I actually had a project. It was this City of Champions project, T-shirts. And I made these designs started with Cleveland, did for all the major American cities. I was real busy. But then also, I started taking Tim to I just started taking him took him to Roosevelt Park one day, and then he made some friends, and then he wanted to go every day. And so it really took off. And early on, we were playing a lot of soccer, because soccer's a good game for little kids. You just run around and kick the ball, and it's pretty easy to do. Tim was 6 years old that summer, turned 7 in the fall, in October. So anyway, now Roosevelt Park is in Greenhills West. It's near the restaurant district, and it's off of Roosevelt Street, and If you're on Wilson, you turn into Greenhills West. There are actually two of them. This is the one closest to the restaurants, just near the restaurants. I used to walk on Wilson Street back and forth most of the time. Anyway, you walk down Roosevelt Street. Never found out if it was FDR or Theodore Roosevelt, one of the American presidents. And you get to the park. It's facing the park. On the left is, now I'm going back to 1999, the park is completely changed now, and I haven't seen it actually with the new changes. But in 1999, on the left was this old clubhouse, much smaller than the new one, didn't take up much space. And then straight ahead near the back was a covered basketball court, and with a roof, but open air, so fresh air could pass through. And at the back was another basketball court, but open air with the sky over your head. Facing from the street, on the right side was the grassy area where kids could run around and play. There were stone benches by the street, and then there was a hedge there, and then there was this playground equipment near the wall at the back on the right. Teeter totters on the far right. These things where you can go up and down, get the guy up in the air, and one's up and the other's down, and that was kind of fun. We used to do that, and we'd always the guy'd be up, and you'd get a couple guys on one side, or kids, and then the other guy on the one side he's stuck up in the air. We'd say, "Oh, we'll bring you your dinner," and there were swings next to that, and there was sort of like a not a merry-go-round, but a thing that would go around, and then there were some slides near the back. And then there was to the right of the outdoor court, there was this pelota court, which was just a cemented area and not really being used. And then to the right of the covered court was this tennis court. Again, it was not really being used at the time. And so you had this. So we and the thing is, we actually started playing baseball, although not with real baseballs. That park is really not very big, and so baseballs weren't practical. Because little kids actually baseballs are intimidating. So we used tennis balls, and we started a baseball program, and with tennis balls, and boy did we have fun. There was a mango tree in the middle that provided shade, very very important because it was real hot over there. We started playing baseball, and I'd bring the gloves, fielding gloves and bats. Early on we used a wooden bat, but then Tim got hit in the head and he had stitches, and so we thought, no, it's not safe. I was forever trying to keep the kids away from the home plate area, because I thought kids were going to get hit by someone swinging a bat. So we played with tennis balls, and eventually I had a couple bases. First base was like a bench. Second base was over by the swings. We had a canvas second base. And then third base was over by another bench and under the mango tree, although it was kind of a little bit dangerous with the roots of the tree. And the home plate, actually, I had our driver, we figured out the dimensions of a home plate and bought a piece of plywood and had it cut up for the proper directions and sanded and painted white. So we had home plate. And so I brought the gloves and we would play. And the thing is, when I was a boy, I wanted to be a great baseball player. The frustrations of my youth. I think this is part of life when you're raising kids or your parent, what you went through as a child affects you and what you do. So, and when I was a boy, I wanted to be a great baseball player, and I wasn't. I was terrible. I played Little League Baseball. I used to strike out every time. It was very embarrassing. And, you go up there and you don't hit the ball, and you feel humiliated. You're a failure. And so that was my great desire. Although I played a lot of park baseball with my friends. We weren't good, but in those games we had fun. We would hit the ball and run the bases and field and so forth. And it was my ambition. I tried out for the in high school. Didn't make the varsity baseball team. I wasn't very good. Actually, when I was 36, I tried out for the Guam Olympic baseball team when I went to Guam. Crazy. Didn't have a prayer of making that team. So anyway, I had these. I wanted these frustrations from my own childhood, but a lot of enjoyment from baseball. So I wanted to get something going where kids would enjoy baseball. So the way we did it, I was the pitcher because little kids are wild; they can't pitch well usually, and so you need a good pitcher who can get the ball so the kids can hit it. And I would adjust based on, depending on how good the batter was. If they were really good, I might throw it in faster to make it more challenging. If they weren't that good, I really try to get it in there so they can hit the ball. Because what makes baseball fun is if you can hit the ball. And if you can hit the ball well, hit the ball pretty far. My best hit as a baseball player in organized ball was a fly ball to left field that was caught. So anyway, it gave me satisfaction because I hit it pretty well, even though I didn't get a hit. So in these games, we started playing with these kids. I'll talk about all the kids who came there. In case those of you who are watching those who participated were a part of this amazing experience. And I was the pitcher, and then what we did is we'd have batting practice, and the kids would rotate in positions in the fielding positions, and then we needed a catcher, and I would pitch, and then you'd go from like a hitter to the first. Then you go to first base and then second base and in the field and so forth. And every kid every boy or girl would get 10 hits, to give them basically batting practice. And then we started playing games where, again, it was actually on the last hit, you would run the bases. Okay, take off when your 10th hit. So and then we started playing games where we just went through the line. I actually kept statistics. I had a spiral notebook and a pen, and after every hit I'd mark down, a single or whatever. And the way we did it was we had a thing called swing till you hit it. No strikeouts, because strikeouts, it's terrible. There's no fun in strikeouts, really. What's fun is hitting the ball well and then running the bases, trying to score. So, we started we'd play these games. Yeah, I would be the pitcher, and then eventually we had teams, where and again we would play. You couldn't strike out. You had to put the ball in play for there to be. And the only way you could be out is if the ball was caught or if you'd thrown out at first, or tagged out, or whatever. So eventually later on, some of the kids they also would pitch, but it didn't really work out that well because usually they're very wild. So, boy, this was an awful lot of fun, all this baseball that we played. And see, I never pressured the kids. It was like, okay, they get tired, they would stop playing. We actually, early on, we were playing a lot of basketball. We did other stuff. I would bring a basketball. We played some American football and soccer, and there were these swings. Sometimes we'd have running races and contests of see how far you could jump off the swing. Another thing that was really fun was touch taya, which is tag. In the Philippines, touch taya. It's a very simple game. If you're it, quote unquote it, then you have to run and touch someone, and then they're it, and so forth. It's really fun, because you're running around. And I always played the role of the one because the thing is, there are slow kids that don't like it because then they're it. They can't get anybody because they're too slow. So I would always play the role of if the slow kid was it, he could tag me, and then then they wouldn't be it anymore. And then some of the kids who were fast, they would come over and they wanted to be tagged so they could tag somebody else because they figured they were fast. So, awful lot of fun. Boy, did we have fun. And this actually, we started going from 2 in the afternoon to 7 p.m. 6 days a week in summer. Saturdays, my wife, Alice, Tim, and I, we'd go to SM Center Point for a movie, Wendy's food and movie, and then I go to a book sale, and Alice go to the grocery store. But anyway, 6 days a week, 5 hours a day, 2 to 7 p.m. Yeah, really wonderful. And then actually some of the kids were coming so late because they'd stayed up late. They didn't have bedtimes in summer. One summer it was like 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., 8 hours a day. Really amazing. So we had a lot of good times. Eventually I started bringing baseball cards. On my visits home to the U.S., I'd buy a lot of baseball cards, give them away to these kids, and then they'd spend time trading them. They'd have their albums where they would put them in a plastics, and they could look at the cards, and then they would trade them. It was really, really fun. They played basketball, and I wouldn't pressure them. So a lot of times the kids, if some of the boys, I remember Cholo Dominguez had come. He won extra batting practice, so he was really into it. And so we do all these different things. Yeah, Marco Polo was another game we played where if you're it, you have to close your eyes and then you're going around trying to touch someone. That's a little bit scary because you think you're going to bump into something. And what I used to do is when it was time to go home, I'd say 7 o'clock. I'd keep an eye on we gotta go. Can't stay here forever. I have to have a schedule. So I had this routine where I'd say, as Scarlett O'Hara always said, tomorrow's another day. That's a scene from the movie Gone with the Wind. And then I would say, or as Jar Jar Binks used to say in Star Wars Episode 1, where's he going home? Yeah, let's see, because it's time to go home. So that was the signal to go home. Yeah, some of the funnest times was at night after it was dark, and we'd be playing tag, and the kids would go up these slides. There were like stairs you could go up, and sitting at the top, well, the slides would go down. There was like an area where you could sit up there, and they'd go up there, and I'd have to go up the steps to try to catch somebody. Usually I'd say, hi, Billy, or whoever that I was keeping in mind that I was going to tag them. But it was an awful lot of fun. So, eventually, we had problems with baseball. The area was too small. Eventually, they put in a new clubhouse, which took up a big part of the park. And then they put a big play area in, or like this heavy plastic. It was like a children's play area with slides and some steps to go up. And eventually, and then when they were building the new clubhouse, for a while we went to this other Greenhills West, which is down the street. There was another park over there. It didn't have any place to get out of the sun or the rain. And we did that it was over by Kyle Ventosa's house, the Ventosa family. Did that for a while. For a while I went to try to find a bigger place. Couldn't work anything out. We tried Xavier, couldn't work it out. Tried LaSalle Greenhills and went there for a while, but nobody came because it was too far. Well, they came a little bit, but it was too far for them to come. Actually, this park is just near Immaculate Conception Academy, a private girls' school. It's just the houses that are by the park. On the one street over is Ica, and then just down the street from Ica is Xavier. So these two private schools over in that area. In fact, we got to know a lot of the Xavier boys who'd come after school in later years during the school year when I started going all year round. So anyway, it was really an amazing experience. Said batting practice. Yeah, like I said, batting practice. I was determined that these kids would become good hitters in baseball. Actually, so and I think it was a good strategy because That's the thing I had when I was playing Little League Baseball. I wasn't ready for this fast pitching, so I'd go up there. I couldn't hit this fast, but wasn't ready. So batting practice really prepares you for success in hitting in baseball. Eventually, we had to stop playing baseball because there just wasn't enough room, and little kids were on the swings getting hit by tennis balls, which still is kind of upsetting. So we had to. Our last stand in baseball was at the pelota court, where we played in a very small area, and we were losing balls very easily. And or one time, I spent a lot of money on tennis balls, these Vittery tennis balls. I'd buy at Sports City at Greenhills Shopping Center, and the old Greenhills, and actually the new one when they tore down the old one. And at Sports City, this guy from India, his name is Daulatran Chandani. It was next to a national bookstore down this corridor. They call him the Boombai, and you go in there and goes Anong Bibli Nyo, and I bought a lot of stuff there, a lot of basketballs, a lot of tennis balls. These Vittery tennis, they were called Vittery, 80 pesos for 3, and they weren't that great. They tended to break, but the price was right. And I said, well, what's this about? Why is it spelled Vittery instead of victory? He's like, oh, you know those Chinese spelling or Chinese manufacturer who left out the C in victory. So, good guy. They called him Don, and I'd say hi Don, and his son used to imitate me. He said, hi Don. And that's where we bought all these tennis balls. But anyway, we were playing at the pelota court. Didn't have much room. One time I remember pitching to Daffy or Donald Dominguez, and he 3 pitches, 3 balls that left the park. They're very nice, these people that lived, at least the maids. We were hitting balls that were hitting on the roof of these houses, and bang, hit the roof. And they would throw the balls back, and if they complained, I didn't hear about it. Eventually, though, they were told, you guys can't play you just can't play baseball in the park. So that was, and then, like I said, we played in the pelota court for a while, but the balls very often would go in the tennis court. There was a high fence. Cholo was my go-to guy. He'd go, and he was very athletic, climb the fence, and he'd get these balls and throw them back. Sometimes he wasn't around, and eventually I had a tough time. I learned to climb the fence. I'd use this pole to brace my back, and I'd climb up, and I'd have to sort of jump in from it was kind of scary. Get these balls and then come back. Coming back was tough because I'd kind of have a long drop to the ground, jump to the ground, and one time I was joking at the top. I was acting like a monkey, and I shouldn't have done that because I ended up. I was trying to jump, and my foot hit a wire, and it ended up falling. Instead of landing on my feet, I landed on my back, and I put my hands out, and I ended up like a broken wrist, although I never got medical care. And fortunately, I thought I was in big trouble. Fortunately, one of the maintenance guys was passing by, that a key let me out. I don't know how I would have gotten out otherwise. So so that was the last gasp of baseball over the pelota court. But by then, we were mostly playing basketball. And so let's see here. Oh, another thing we used to do was we'd have war games, and if the tennis court was open, we'd pick teams and play, and we would have a pass out tennis ball, equal number of tennis balls, and then basically just throw the balls at each other. You could not pass the what do you call it? Not the fence or the net. Yeah, you can. And so you'd come up to the net and throw at guys, and maybe you'd be daring, come up and encourage them to try to hit you. And sometimes we'd throw the ball up in the air, and it would come, and then they'd be looking at that ball, and then you'd try to hit a guy who's looking for a ball to come to him. One time, Aaron Trinidad, I remember a ball came to bounce and hit him right in the face, and he was pretty upset about that. Wasn't too happy. So let's see what else here. The outdoor. Yeah, and okay, and I used to bring out. There was no drinking fountain. Yeah, I used to bring drinking water because I didn't want kids going home because they were thirsty. And eventually that was me walking down Wilson Street carrying like a pack mule, carrying a couple. Although early on with the baseball stuff I couldn't carry, we had to take the car, our Star X. But later on I would bring out like a bag with 2 basketballs in it, and another bag with like 3 large containers of water, plastic bottles, and 3 plastic cups from Dick, this drinking place that sold fruit drinks on Wilson Street. So, yeah, let's see what else. So as I said, eventually it became mostly basketball. We're playing in the back. I kind of liked that because I could take off my shirt. It's so hot. I got tired of when I couldn't really do that over on the grassy area because it's nakakahiya. It's shameful. But in the back, there wouldn't be any women around. So I used to borrow a broom from the maintenance guys and sweep the debris off the old. I love that old outdoor court. I feel bad that it's now a covered court. I'd sweep the debris, sticks that would fall, and during rainy season, I'd sweep the puddles so it could water would evaporate quicker. Yeah, we played a lot of basketball back there, a lot of years of basketball, and eventually I was giving basketball cards away to the kids, and boy, did we have a good time playing basketball. I would play wearing long pants and without a shirt, and I think had a good time, an awful good time. So anyway, we'll talk about some of the people who came and participated in this experience. Our son Tim Ray, of course, he was the main reason, and he would come with me, and he was there all the time, because he had no choice. Although he liked to go. Or one time it was fun. We were playing at nighttime. You could the indoor basketball court was lighted, or they could turn on the lights, and if they did, the outdoor court was lit. So that was very fortunate. And if they turn off the lights, then we pretty much it would be too dark to play. Everybody go home. One thing that was fun with Tim is we did what we called Kenny Lofton catches at the tennis court, or at night when it was maybe everyone had left, and I'd throw the ball up high and he'd jump against the fence, and we were getting light from the indoor court because it was after dark. So Tim got all this batting practice, and he was a good player. He eventually played baseball at LaSalle Greenhills, did real well, and then he played Elam. I didn't enjoy it. I thought they were too hard on the kids, and he played college basketball. Anyway, Tim, and it was this father-son thing that we were there together. It was fun. So the two of us were going a lot, and he was the reason I went. Eventually, in 2008, we moved to the States, and 7 months, and I came back. He stayed in the U.S., and I was still going to the park without him, which was kind of crazy, but that's how much I enjoyed going. So Tim Ray. Now I think the first friend that we made there was Billy Kopelman, whose family at the time lived right on the house right by the park, and Billy was, I remember he was with his dad, and eventually he became a early Corps member, very enthusiastic. I think he's in the U.S. Marines in Texas now. Lost touch with him. Hope we can communicate with Billy. Good guy. We have the same birthday. Big personality. Very very kind guy. Very outgoing. Sometimes a little bit bossy, but he was a good guy, and he really got into it. We had a good time. His favorite player was Mike Piazza of the New York Mets, catcher. And there was Billy's he was adopted. His biological father apparently was from India, and then in the Philippines, if you're from India, they call you a Mumbai, which is really based on the city of Bombay in India. I think it's now called Mumbai. But and one day Billy was sitting there and he was upset. I guess some of the kids had made fun of him, and maybe in school he says, "Hey, I know I'm a Mumbai. Yeah, I know it. I'm a Mumbai." And then Cholo Dominguez said, "Oh, Billy, you're not a Mumbai. You're a people." That became this legendary experience. A really good guy, really warm-hearted guy, funny guy. Really enjoyed Billy Kopelman. Donald Dominguez, whom we called Daffy, he was one of 3 siblings that started coming to the park. They live on Adams Street, which runs right into Roosevelt Park. And I remember one time they had these scooters, not motorized. You put your foot on, and man, these kids were riding their scooters down Adams Street, and they didn't even look, crossing Roosevelt Street into the park. I was all scared. Daffy, I call him Daffy, I think, or Donald. Really good guy, very peaceful. Good spirit, good guy. Yeah, really liked his company because he's kind, nice guy, real nice guy. And he went to San Francisco. A really good fella. Donald Daffy Dominguez. His younger brother Cholo is very athletic, and Cholo was the one who had the longest baseball career. Just ended, I think, maybe within the past year or so. He played college baseball at LaSalle. He was a college baseball player, tremendous player. He was a pitcher and a catcher. He could hit. Cholo was very athletic. I said he would come to me asking for extra batting practice, and so he would have been a success in any sport, I think, if he hadn't played baseball, learned baseball. And maybe in soccer. Good guy, yeah, very, very athletic guy, full of energy. And then let's see here, Joel. Actually, their mother, we'll talk about their mother, the sister, Jazzle Dominguez. Jazzle came. For a while, we had a number of girls who participated in this. Yeah, so that was nice, having girls involved. And Jazzle was one of them, and she was the sister. And nice girl. I think she's in medical school right now. Wow, it's amazing. Really something. That's really quite an undertaking. Yeah, she's a very pleasant girl, and she got into playing baseball. Eventually, the girls kind of dropped out of the whole thing because of cultural pressure, probably because of their gender. But early on, we had girl power. The number of girls who used to come. Actually, their older sister Zinky, they got her to bat once, and that was about it. She was really too old to start coming to the park. Now, I have to mention the mother of Daffy, Cholo, and Jazzle, Joji Dominguez. She was very supportive. She was really, supportive in terms of having her kids come and trusting me that I was a good guy. And actually, we didn't know anybody when we went to the park, and eventually we came to the point where we had to have like a connection to enter the park. It's a private subdivision. Initially, they just let me in because I was an American. It was like colonial mentality. But she became really our Roosevelt Park friend, that she's it was okay for us to be there because of our friendship with her. She's a very very fine woman, wonderful mother. She has wonderful children. Sam de la Pena, good guy. Yeah, Sam was older. He lived down a couple streets down Coolidge. Really good fella, yeah, nice guy, easygoing, and he took the nickname Sammy Sosa, or from his name is Sam. We call him Sammy Soda. With Billy, it was Mike Piazza. Sam was a good guy. Yeah, he really got into this whole experience that we were having. His cousin Medell, she was part of the girl. About the girl power. Medell would come, very, very nice, very sweet, very kind person. She really enjoyed playing baseball in those early years, but eventually kind of felt pressured not to go because of, as girls were getting older and so forth. Real nice girl. Medell San Pascual, the cousin of Sam, very, very kind, peaceful young lady. Patricia Chua. Patricia lived just across the street from the park. She was a little bit older, but not too old. She got into it. She was very, since she's right there, she'd see if we were there from her house. And she actually had played with Daffy, Cholo, and Jazzle when they were very, very young there at the park. Real nice girl, and she used to call this guy. There was this guy who used to come a guy named Thomas, and she used to call him a good citizen. I think she liked him, and she had a real good spirit. Been trying to find her on Facebook. There was a number of Patricia Chuas, and I haven't been able to find the right one. But I believe she moved to the U.S. Eventually moved to, I think, Seattle, Washington area. Very nice girl. She was she was coming all the time early on during those early years. Kyle Ventosa, who lived in the other Greenhills West down Wilson Street. Real nice guy, yeah. And he played LaSalle baseball as well. A very peaceful, very kind fellow. And really enjoyed his company. And I think he was friends with Daffy. Calvin, eventually his sister, Claine Ventosa, studied at Ressalest, our school. Now, of course, I just mentioned myself briefly because it's me talking. I used to pitch with a handkerchief in my. I used to have a handkerchief to wipe my face. I'd put it in a belt loop to dry. If I put it in my pocket, it wouldn't dry. And for a while, I was wearing hiking boots. Yeah, I think in those early years I wore hiking boots to pitch. So there I am wearing with a handkerchief in my belt loop and hiking boots and pitching. So, and I have to mention my wife Alice because she was so supportive. While I was playing with these kids, she was back at our school, our business, our livelihood, running the school, running summer school, and enrolling students for the following school year. So, God bless my dear wife Alice, who's a really wonderful person, very, very kind and easygoing and peaceful, has a good sense of humor, good person, and been very. She's put up with me over the years. I haven't been the easiest person to live with or to be married to. Alvin Trinidad, really good guy. Now, Alvin was one of a number of cousins that started coming, and they lived nearby on Villa Bañez Street, not too far away, well, outside of Greenhills West, but near. And so they had this. He was a cousin. He was one of these cousins, or in Tagalog, pinsans. They used to say they had pinsan power. Alvin, really liked Alvin, really good guy. He was a stoic, kind of sober. Yeah, and he's I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, he was Stoics. They people who they put up with stuff and they try try not to express too much emotion, not too crazy. Try to remain. He was a calm fellow. He's very into in the NBA the Indiana Pacers and Reggie Miller. Yeah, and one time he became a Yankee fan, New York Yankees fan. He came to the party. He said Carl Pavano's suck. Apparently hadn't done too well. And this one time he was talking about, he'd say, oh, did Bonju came? His cousin Bonju. That became this thing. We used to say, did Bonju came? Alvin Trinidad, I think he's working on these cruise ships, going all over the world as a chef. Really good fella. Very, very, very good guy. Wonderful person. His brother Aaron Trinidad, his younger brother. Aaron's a funny guy. Yeah, I remember this one time Aaron, he could be a little rascal early on when he was young and he'd lose his temper. One time he was throwing rocks at other kids, and I said, Aaron, man, you can't do that. We can't have that. And I was trying to reason with him. I said, would you like people to throw rocks at you? And he said, no, but I like to throw rocks at them. Yeah, one time I remember playing basketball. He'd lose his temper, start throwing stuff on the court. Next thing you know, there's like baseball gloves and a football and different things on the basketball court. We're like, Aaron, man, what are you doing? Anyway, he's a funny guy. He had a good spirit. Had a good spirit. Yeah, and he was good fellow. Bonju Reyes, another one of the cousins of this family. They lived over on Bonju is very strong spirit. Yeah, and he was very fast. And years later, Marty Mendoza called him the fastest effer in the park. Bonju could run. Also very athletic. I remember in baseball, when the bases were loaded, I used to call it a grand slam opportunity. If you hit a home run, it's a grand slam, 4 runs. And remember, he remembered that, and he'd say, this is a grand. If he's batting with the bases, he'd say, it's a grand slam opportunity. Real good guy, very strong person, and a tremendous athlete, and very mature, good fellow, Bonju Reyes. And then let's see, Dexter Togel, another one of these cousins. Dexter, when I would make these jokes about this cartoon, Dexter's Laboratory, and when he would show up, or maybe I'd say, in Dexter's Laboratory, he's the smartest boy you've ever seen, but Dee Dee blows his experiments to smithereens. In Dexter's lab. Dexter was a real good guy. He got into mixed martial arts, I believe. Really good fellow. Also pretty athletic, wonderful personality, and very outgoing. And Dexter, I remember I was going to the U.S. for a 3-week trip, and he said, "Oh, no baseball for 3 weeks." Really good fella, Dexter Togel. Now Dexter's sister, Monique Togel, she was part of these group of girls. Real nice girl, very, very peaceful and kind. And she was part of our group for a while. She's living in Europe, believe it or not. Amazing. She married a guy from Europe. She's been over there for a few years now. Wonderful person, Monique Togel. And now Chrissy Reyes. Chrissy is the sister of Bonju. It was nice to have so there were a group of, not a lot of girls, but Chrissy was for some reason I thought her name was Anna. I used to call her Anna at that time. Real nice girl, and very sweet and pleasant and easygoing, and she really enjoyed being. Of course, this is her cousin. She was being a part of at the park. Kevin Reyes, really good guy. Good old Kevin, funny guy. Yeah, he was funny. We would he got in for a while. I was feeding a wild cat sardines. and at the outdoor court, and Kevin was enjoying that, and I remember actually I started a little farming at the back that Cholo got into. It didn't get very far. Kevin's a good guy, yeah, real good spirit. Yeah, he was. We joke around a lot, and I think he was Kevin Garnett in basketball. He joked around about Barry Bonds. Make jokes about Barry Bonds, baseball player. And Kevin, good fella. And I've had some real nice messages with him recently. Actually, one of the things the kids got into, they started lighting fires. I was very troubled about it for a while because, oh my God. But then I remember when I was in Boy Scouts, how much I enjoyed fires. We had fires for cooking, and kids like fire. They're cool, Of course, also dangerous. So we'd have the fires. I think Kevin got into this. We'd have the fires at the pelota court. Probably some adults didn't like what we were doing, but I made sure it was safe, that it couldn't spread, and I would. I remember Kevin enjoyed that. Real good guy, Kevin Reyes. Now another group of cousins, Zig Co. Zig was a super nice guy. Zig, he was a big L.A. Laker fan, and specifically Kobe Bryant. So we would joke around. I remember one time the outdoor court, the hoop, the net was, or the backboard was held up by this sloping silver metal structure, and one time the ball hit that, and I said, "It's out of bounds." And he said, "Why do you say that?" And I said, "Because it hit the silver thing." One time I was wearing a Superman shirt, so I was kind of joking around about having superpowers, and I would stare at him. Yeah, he had a real good sense of humor. Hard-working guy. He's been doing real well in his working life. These kids are all out of school. They're in their late 20s and 30s, into their 30s now. Really good fella, Zig Co. His sister Ishko, really nice girl. Yeah, she got into baseball, and again, mostly like the other girls, pretty much dropped out as the years passed. Real nice spirit, very pleasant, easygoing. Remember, I gave her my Pocahontas cards because I thought should give them to someone. And Dexter told us, "How do you play with Pocahontas cards?" Real nice girl, Ish Co. And I have to mention the mother of Zig and Ish, Ruby Co. She was extremely supportive. Ruby Co. She was making sure, bringing her kids and then their cousins and actually friends of children of her friends. She was extremely supportive. Aaron Coe, another of he's a cousin of Zig and Ish, real peaceful guy, really good guy. Really liked Aaron. He's a really good friend. He's working at a poultry farm in Pangasinan, I believe. We've been communicating. It's nice to communicate on Facebook with people. Real nice fella, Aaron Coe. Real good person. He has good character. Stephen Lim Guan. I thought his name was Stephen Lim Guan. It's actually Stephen, and the middle name Lim and Guan. Yeah, he was very enthusiastic. Another cousin of Zig, Ish, and Aaron. Good fella. And I think he lives in the province. Yeah, I remember he jumped on top of this play structure. I don't know if it was appropriate because it was designed for little kids. Real good. Actually, yeah, very athletic. We called him Stephen Marbury, the NBA player. Joe Yuhiko, he was one of three brothers. The Yuhiko family, they lived just up the street from the park on Adams Street. Really nice fellow. I remember the thing I would joke around with Joe, I'd say, "Yo, Joe, Yuhiko." Really nice fella and good spirit. Joe played some LaSalle baseball, and really nice fella. He would good guy. He's easy to be with. Some people can be difficult. Very easy to be with. Really good person. His younger brother Mark Yuhiko. Now in the latter years or middle years, eventually I was involved with a group of younger kids over in the grassy area while the older kids played basketball at the outdoor court. So I was playing with these younger kids, and we're playing like imagination games where you would get frozen or you'd get unfrozen, and that was fun. Mark Yuhiko is a very peaceful guy, very easygoing, really a nice guy, super nice guy. His younger brother is Sean Yuhiko, the three Yuhiko boys, Sean Yuhiko. Nice guy. Yeah, he was, typical younger child, kind of like I was, very, very funny. And remember one time he called the top of the where they have the slides, he called it the sanctum. He said, to the sanctum. And we would go up there and sit up there and talk and visit and so forth. And really nice little boy. Of course, now I think he's in college now. Sean Uhiko, good guy. Another guy was Nico DeCini, who didn't come a lot, but we were friends with him from LaSalle baseball. He's now in Canada. Really nice fellow. One time at the back at the outdoor court, there was beyond that there was a wall, and then there's a canal beyond that, and then there was a fence to keep balls from going. But the fence, the holes in the fence were fairly big. One day Nico came in and threw a baseball, went right through that, and he was expecting the ball to come back. It went right through and down into the canal, which was unfortunate. Real nice fella. We saw him a lot at LaSalle baseball. He came to the park sometimes, and I remember he was complaining about one time. He said, "My socks are wet." Nice fella. He's in Canada. His family moved to Vancouver, Canada, and he wants to be in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which he's working for. There was a guy. There's an adult named Joey Reyes who used to come. Yeah, see, there were a number of adults who would come. And he was a kind of funny guy, Joey Reyes. And Marty Mendoza came for a while, and near the final year probably. Real strong guy. He studied at Restless, and he introduced what I call boxing basketball, where if you get a rebound, anybody tries to steal, you use physical intimidation to keep possession of the ball. Tom Oy. Yeah, Tom Oy was an adult. He had problems with his skin. He used to comb his legs. Tom's a funny guy. He would come and play. He was there all the time. A real good player. Yeah, he was kind of like Larry Bird. He could shoot. Tremendous player. He was a very peaceful, easygoing guy. Royce Yu came for a while, who was studied at Russ Celeste and has a very strong spirit. Actually, he was there when he was younger. Charles Hohenfeld. Charles was an adult, and he would bring his son Carl Hohenfeld. They're both big guys, very stocky, very strong. They play one-on-one, and immediately Carl would start saying that his father was following him, and Charles would laugh. They were nice fellows, real good guy. There were some of the guys I didn't know their last name. A guy named R.M., who was very, very talented. Very talented. He could run. And I can't remember his last name. Nice fellow. And a guy named J.R. who was older. I think he was working. He would come and shoot and so forth. Ralph Tuazon, who's gone now. God bless Ralph Tuazon. He would come. He wouldn't really play. He was an easygoing fellow. And this is near the end of the whole experience. Then there were a number of guys I didn't know their name who lived nearby. Marvin, who was a very peaceful guy, good player. And I think these guys, a bunch of them might have been related. Jonell, nice fella. Entong, I think, was the father of Din Dong. Whole group of guys used to come who lived not too far away. And then there was the workers maintenance guys and security guards. Basilio was a guy who was, I think, head of the security guards, and Nilo also. Some of the employees who worked there maintaining the park, a guy named Bong. There was a guy named Rico and Efren. These were all guys that were there working. And so some final thoughts about the whole experience at Roosevelt Park. If you're one of the people who came and were a part of this, I wish you well. God bless you. And you were all a wonderful blessing in my life. All you guys and girls who are now young men and women. And I was really blessed to have you in my life and to be your friend and that you were my friend. Very touching because it's beautiful. It's a gift from God. That whole experience was a gift from God. It was a wonderful thing. You need happy memories in life, and the thing is, it all came to an end. I hung on to it as hard as I could, but that's how life is. Life is always changing, and things change. And by 2010, I became kind of troubled, and then I became depressed. Then I moved to the U.S., so it was over. But it's so nice on Facebook to communicate with the kids from the park, from the old days, from going back 20 years ago, 1999. We had a lot of fun. To quote Captain Kirk from the movie Star Trek Generations, we had fun, as he said. So it was really wonderful. God bless you. I wish you well, in your personal lives. Now you're adults and working and working or even have children, marriage and family. I wish you well, and I hope to come back to the Philippines someday and see you all, because you were it was just amazing. We had such a good time. We had a really good time, and God bless you all. And I don't know what else to say. But it was just I just couldn't get over it. It's just that park wasn't that great. It was kind of a small area, and now I feel kind of bad about because now the outdoor court is now covered, and so you can't go back there and have the sky over your head. We had an awful. Like I said, it was the greatest experience of my life, being with you all. I love you. God bless you. And so anyway, for you, those of you who came to the park, and for anyone else, other viewers, God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.